Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Karis May, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major General Jeff Sengelman. We warmly welcome the family of Second Lieutenant Brian Richard Allen Jones, whose story will be read shortly. We also acknowledge the colleagues of Second Lieutenant Jones, including members of the 1969 graduating class from the Officer Cadet School in Portsea and representatives from the Special Forces community that are joining us here today. We warmly welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from around Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors and students on behalf of Millicent High School from South Australia. To commence this evening's ceremony, I would invite you all stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and other operations for over more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Second Lieutenant Brian Jones. Brian Richard Allen Jones was born on the 18th of April 1948 in Birmingham, England. His family immigrated to Australia when he was a young boy and settled in Whyalla, South Australia. By the early 1960s, he had moved to Perth, Western Australia, where he completed his intermediate schooling in 1965. After leaving school, he went to work at the Commonwealth Bank. He left the bank in March 1968 and on the 5th of July enlisted into the Australian Regular Army for a 6-year term. Accepted as an officer candidate, Jones was sent to the Officer Candidate School at Portsea in Victoria for training. A keen student, he excelled in both the classroom and in the field. He was a good sportsman and represented his class in rugby, for which he was awarded a bronze medallion, and also in cricket. He graduated from Portsea on the 13th of June 1969 with the rank of Second Lieutenant and returned to Western Australia, where, on the 18th of June, he married his sweetheart, Patricia. Second Lieutenant Jones was posted to Swanbourne Barracks, Western Australia. He successfully completed the Special Air Service Regiment Carter course at the end of July and was posted to 2 Squadron. Over the next year, he completed the basic parachute, small watercraft, rope climbing instructor, recondo, demolitions and unarmed combat instructor courses. Build-up training for Vietnam saw Jones do 2 training exercises in New Guinea, where jungle conditions were used to simulate those in Vietnam. The men of 2 Squadron arrived in Vietnam in February 1971. Following some in-country training, the squadron began operations, the majority of which took place in the east of Phuoc Tuy province. Patrols operated from the South China Sea to the Long Khan province border. On the morning of the 10th of April 1971, Jones was part of a 10-man patrol that was helicoptered out to join a patrol led by Sergeant Danny Wright, who was searching for an unoccupied VC bunker system which had been found by Jones on his first patrol. As Jones led his men out to a recently arrived helicopter, he encountered another patrol which had just returned from the jungle on the same aircraft. One member of the returning patrol, Trooper Don Barnby, had turned 21 while in the field. Using Trooper Barnby's camera, Jones took a picture of the patrol. To reciprocate, Barnby took a photo of Jones's patrol. It was the last image taken of him. That photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. After being landed in the jungle, Jones's patrol met up with that of Sergeant Wright. As the combined patrols neared the location of the VC bunkers, smoke was sighted. An attack was launched against what was thought to be an enemy camp, but the source of the smoke was found to be a smouldering log. There was no sign of the enemy. After a stop for lunch, the combined patrols moved on, but soon encountered an ox cart track which showed signs of recent enemy activity. Wright's patrol was placed as western flank protection and Jones's men were placed to protect the eastern flank. Jones led a 3-man reconnaissance patrol forward to locate the bunkers. A little after 4 p.m, Jones, who had moved in a circular direction, approached the front of his patrol's positions. A member of Jones's patrol, seeing only a weapon and a figure in the jungle approaching his position, initiated contact. He fired 5 rounds before his weapon jammed, and in the seconds afterwards heard the order to cease fire, Sergeant Wright called out, "You've shot Jonesy," to the distressed patrol member. Jones received serious wounds to the face. A dust-off helicopter was called in and arrived shortly after. Sadly, Jones's wounds proved mortal, and he died as he was being placed on board of the helicopter. He was days short of his 23rd birthday. His remains were returned to Australia and laid to rest with full military honours in the Alice Springs Memorial Cemetery on the 21st of April. Brian Jones's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, along with among over 500 others who died as a result of their service in the Vietnam War. And his photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. We now remember Second Lieutenant Brian Richard Allen Jones, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. The going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this, and we are. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We would like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.